Two candidates come across my desk for a position. They've both got impressive resumes, went to highly acclaimed schools, have great experiences, similar GPAs and achievements, nearly identical test scores. Their personal statements are powerful. There's not a typo in sight. Both have compelling, memorable stories. And there's a great hook that engages me from the first sentence. And then I read their reference letters. What your colleagues say about you carries a lot of weight in any application process. So when I start reviewing through personal references from these two candidates, a big gap between the two becomes apparent. Candidate A's boss seems to have nothing but glowing things to say about her in a really well-written, concise letter, making a strong case for her work ethic. He has a relevant job title as well to what we do in our organization. And he had specific stories to share about how this candidate always goes above and beyond. Then I look at candidate B. Didn't get the memo. Neither did candidate B's reference writer. Letter just seems off. And I keep asking myself in this reference, they only seem to offer lukewarm, generic comments that might as well apply to any of the candidates in the alphabet for the position. So let's talk about how you can be candidate A and not candidate B. I'm Dr. Chad Brands with Mentoring Docs. Who should write me a letter or provide a professional reference for this key next step opportunity I'm considering? Or you might directly even ask a colleague, could you write me a letter that shows how my experiences have prepared me for this opportunity and why I'd be a great fit for this next step position? As a coach, I'm going to take a few minutes to walk you through a practical strategy on how to request professional references, including those formal letters of recommendation that will definitely advance your career when done well. So let's begin. Why do I need to be strategic with identifying the right colleagues who can be my professional references and write great formal recommendation letters for me? Because without well-written letters of recommendation and these references that attest to your skills and abilities, your life experiences, you're likely not going to stand out from the competition and maybe not get the interview for the position. So the strategy becomes identifying first those professional colleagues who can write you the best references. Who and where are these professional colleagues? These are your most respected colleagues and friends in your workplaces, past and present. No matter whether these are distant or current colleagues, they should be readily and easily able to attest to your personal qualities, your commitment, your character, your dedication, drive, energy, enthusiasm, honesty, integrity, work ethic, a long list, your professional achievements, including the most important outcomes, the highest impact ones that you've shared in your application and typically are going to be listed on your resume or curriculum vitae. In this capacity, these are your contemporaries who have worked alongside you through thick and thin. I think of a talented systems engineer that I have had the privilege to work with and earlier in my career. We met after joining the organization, quickly partnered to see how we could make a real difference, collaborating together, elevating the entire stature of the organization by showcasing outcomes. We had concrete data to show how we'd move the needle. Then, when it came time for each of us to consider additional professional opportunities, we both served as references and letter writers for one another in different fields of specialization. We knew each other well, including what we did, how we had done it as leaders. So, it's important to remember that positions don't always go to the most talented, accomplished, or experienced professionals on paper. Sometimes they might go to politically well-connected, or sometimes even to candidates who have a moderate level of experience and skill, but they're known, maybe insiders, and are highly regarded by their peers as a person that you'd want to be working in the trenches with. Bottom line, don't let the politics of applying and hiring discourage you. Stay focused, do your best, and rise above the noise. Your professionalism and persistence are really going to make the ultimate difference. Which of my professional colleagues would actually help me craft a strong application? Pick and select letter writers who are enthusiastic and positive about your work. They're timely and responsive, so important, and they're excellent communicators, both verbally and in writing. Remember, not all references are created equal. Before considering and asking someone to be a reference, make sure you've seen their writing. Some colleagues may not communicate clearly. Some don't meet tight deadlines. It's just reality. A well-written reference, colleagues, means absolutely nothing if it's late. So don't let the opportunity disappear because someone's likely to miss a deadline. Choose those colleagues who are timely, professional, reliable, and have the real currencies of putting together that strong reference for you. How many references do I need? The simple answer is only as many as the opportunity expects, or the professional organization, or that future employer is requesting. No more, no less is the general rule. Organizations are always going to request more information if they need it from candidates. Good coaches are going to say submit what's needed and required, but typically no more than that. An exception to the rule, if you've needed 3 letters and you've got a 4th one in the wings or in reserve, submit it only if you're 100% confident that it's going to promote your candidacy. How can I best prepare my professional reference about the opportunity and my relevant experience? The strategy here is to take the time to actually prepare a packet of information. It's got a cover letter addressed to your colleague, and it's going to summarize the current situation and your desire to competitively and confidentially apply for the opportunity. On that note, do ask your reference for strict confidentiality. You deserve it. You need it. No one else really needs to know about it. Don't use your work email or communication tools to discuss that application. Aim to use personal emails and phone numbers. Include the employment position description in that information packet for your colleague. You should always include an updated resume or curriculum vitae that you've carefully reviewed individually yourself for completeness and accuracy. You're going to want to outline the timeline for your colleague. Tell candidates every day, build in some additional time margins so that you're not pushing that deadline to the limit. Create an earlier deadline ahead of the hard deadline for employment. You want to at least have a week at your desk to send the emails, make some texts or phone calls to ensure your application for the opportunity is all buckled up and complete. And then a call might come from that external organization because your candidacy's moved forward. So the letter's been submitted, but remind your letter reference writers, someone from that next step organization opportunity that I'm applying for might just call. And so it's going to be within the week. Give them an idea of who it might be and where that call's coming from. That way they'll be setting aside some time on the calendar or at least pick up the call, and there won't be delays in the next steps of your application process. When that call comes to my desk or my mobile phone, here are the questions that I'm typically going to ask as a leader. How did you know this candidate? When did you get to know the candidate? What have they done within the context of your organization? And what are their true standout qualities? How did they contribute and what did they accomplish? What really sets this candidate out in the context of your organization? How have they led? What have they done with you? And how did you find their work? Good question comes next. We'd like to call your current employer. Good coaches are always going to advise you that you've got the ability to go and explore these opportunities confidentially. Just indicate to that individual that you're not willing to put your current employment at risk, right? And that you want to keep your employment and your application entirely confidential. Most future employers are going to understand the importance of your request. Should I have additional professional references on standby? Yes. It's a smart contingency plan in case one of your colleagues is called out, emergently or not, and just cannot, for whatever unforeseen reason, complete your reference in a timely fashion. Always check with the organization to make sure that your application is complete. If not, call up one of your trusted colleagues who's in reserve waiting in the wings to supply that reference that you need to meet the deadline. That trusted colleague is identified in reserve, and they've already maybe done an existing reference for you previously, and they can tailor it quickly to the new opportunity. But be mindful of this colleague's time. On extremely short notice, it might not be an effective workflow. She might be on vacation or in the middle of a major project deadline or meeting family commitments. Next question. What represents the most effective letter of recommendation or a formal professional reference? Well, it's one that actually you've written yourself. Surprise! Executive leaders often use this technique primarily to offload the work on their desks. So if you're asked to write your own letter of recommendation from your supervisor or a colleague, review, step up, take the lead. You know your career and achievements and accomplishments better than anyone, right? So you'll have the opportunity in the first-person view to compile it, compose it, and put it together. A great letter of endorsement for you and your professional advancement opportunity. When these letters are well written, sometimes they'll just receive a simple review and a quick signature, and the executive assistant will submit it on your behalf. Keep in mind, this is a privilege afforded to trusted colleagues in an organization and not usually given to students in undergraduate or graduate programs of study. So, you've been asked to write an initial draft of your own letter of recommendation. How long should it be? My wife always says, get to the point faster, more efficiently, and effectively. She's laughing, and I'm still smiling. So if you're writing that letter at the request of a supervisor or a colleague who's going to put it on their official and professional stationery, get it into one page. It's much more likely to be read after you've clearly communicated an effective opening, a solid middle, and a strong closing that makes the case for your candidacy. Now you see why you've maybe been asked to write your very own letter of recommendation. Should the letter include any personal elements, or should it be entirely professional? In the introductory section, after they've introduced themselves with their professional credibility on the line to the reading audience, they might comment in the middle section on your personal qualities. Most leaders craft the letter to be a formal and professional letter as to how they came to know you. Perhaps they hired you or recruited you. Maybe you were a colleague who worked side by side and celebrated an achievement. Finally, what to do after you've been granted an interview or ultimately rewarded the opportunity for a new position. Thank your professional colleagues who served as your references. Live with that attitude of gratitude. Take that colleague or friend out for coffee and communicate how much it meant to you personally to receive their professional endorsement on your journey, to be that trusted mentor or professional teammate that they were to you. Once you've moved on into a new professional journey, the time spent with that trusted friend or colleague in the workplace is likely going to diminish. And while we all try to keep up with connections from the past, it's challenging to stay truly connected in the professional whirlwind of conferences, hectic schedules, and different career paths. You never know when your paths are going to cross again. So carpe diem, seize the day, live the moment, celebrate. Start with the end in mind, and you can see yourself interviewing for that new position. Remember, in order to get the interview, you need to request great professional references. You're sure to be a standout candidate when your colleagues then have independently confirmed your value as a professional to your next step journey. Visit mentoringdocs.com at the website, in the description down below. Book a one-on-one coaching session to help you achieve your goals. It's going to be well worth your time. And as I say frequently on this channel, stay well and study well. And remember, collaborate and communicate well in your ongoing work with your colleagues. Take note of the professionals who are not just talented, but reliable and genuinely rooting for you. Those who are the ones who will write you great recommendations and give you references when it truly counts. Surround yourself with colleagues who believe in you and are ready to help you take that next big step on your career pathway to the future.